Welcome to the first class of powerful copywriting. This is the best copywriting class ever. Not just because I developed it, but because it's everything that I needed somebody to tell me when I was starting out in copywriting. So let's get into it. This first class is going to cover rephrasing for excellent wording, whether copywriting is for you or not, how to pitch to clients, an analysis of copywriting advertisements, actually advertisements that have copywriting in them, and what you need to get started. So let's get right into it. Okay, I'll just say this first. What has really messed up a lot of people in copywriting is the idea that people need to be told what to do. The problem is that it comes off as too salesy. So we need to really work on how to word our sentences, wording and structure and everything. So I come up with a few sentences that you can rephrase. The first one is saying, instead of saying you will love this, you can say we love this because. And that gives the reader the opportunity to decide whether they really do love what you're selling, what you're telling them or not, you know? The next one is, instead of saying I can help you, you can say here is the solution to that problem. Because okay, you might be able to help me, but who decided that you should help me? I mean, really, these are some of the things that people may think when you're reading. So you want to just avoid as much resistance as possible, you know? The next one is, instead of saying you'll agree, you can say you'll probably already know this, but, and you always want to assume that the reader is smart, you know? Not that they have to agree with what you're saying, because what if they don't? Another one is, instead of saying you owe yourself this, you can say, what do you think you deserve? Because you don't really want to tell someone what they should owe themselves. They should decide for themselves what they think they owe themselves. Another one is you should, and instead of saying you should say, you can say, here is an easier way, you know? So these are just some of the ways that I found were really helpful in getting me to structure my sentences and get things going. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is whether copywriting is for you or not. Okay, so for those that get offended easily or do not want the brutal truth, you may want to skip this part because we're really gonna get brutally honest here. Okay, so there is a difference between an espresso and an Americano, okay? But you know, we probably have a lot of non-coffee drinkers here. I'm actually not a coffee drinker, but but the point is that copywriting is very specific. It is definitely not content writing. So I think that if you don't know what copywriting is, that's actually okay. I know some people will say that if you don't know what copywriting is, you shouldn't even do it. Well, I'm one of those people who at first couldn't give you a good definition of what copywriting was. I had an idea, but I couldn't give you a good definition of what it was. So I'll tell you. It is written text that sells a product or service. Whether even if your client does not want direct sales and just wants to raise brand awareness or get more subscriptions, you still have to sell that. It is not content writing. Now, if you still are confused after that explanation, then probably you shouldn't be a copywriter. So even when you're communicating with a client, you may find that some clients also don't know the difference between copywriting and content writing. And you need to make sure that you price your services differently. The price for copywriting and the price for content writing is different. So if you're a copywriter and you accept content writing work, what I do and what a lot of professional copywriters do is that we charge copywriting rates for the content writing. Because if they wanted to hire a content writer, then they should hire a content writer. But if you're coming to me as a copywriter and you want me to do content writing, I will charge you copywriting rates. And that is fair because you are not a content writer, and the intention was not to hire you as a content writer. But again, that's all up to you about how to price everything. But that's usually how things work in a professional manner. Now let's talk about some of the things that you need to be ready for if you want to get into copywriting. One of the things that is very, very important is your personal brand. What are your values? The customer or the client needs to know those values. They need to know that you're a person of high quality, attention to detail. They can rely on you. You deliver on time. You do your research. You're original. You're really dedicated, and the best way to show that is through your own personal lifestyle, how you operate from day to day. And it can be quite challenging to let a client into your personal life, but a copywriter should have some kind of social media presence. And through that social media, you should communicate or show the things that you value through the type of videos you post, through the things that you care about, what you do for your community, things like that. So that's one way to really attract high quality clients. And you also need to really enjoy, creating and doing the copywriting. There's a lot of research involved, a lot of work that goes into preparing to write something and then making sure that it has no mistakes and, just being creative. You kind of need to always be in a positive mood. Not only that, you also need to feel like making people's dreams come true. You need to enjoy how your client will feel from the results of your copywriting, just like how they want their customers to feel when they purchase their service or product. So let's take a look at a copywriting advertisement that I did for one of my clients. He was sort of experimenting on like a new body care line and wanted to see if he could be successful with it. So this is the ad, and it's titled Ben's Body Care. And I'll just read it here. Your skin can be an indication of vibrant health and attention to self-care. Ben's Body Care is luxuriously hydrating, giving you that silky smooth feel everyone wants. It brings the bounty of botanicals infused into every bottle. Okay, and then I go on to list the benefits. Protective plant-derived antioxidants, indulgent skin smoothers to help calm and restore, hydrating proteins and micronutrients, fresh botanical inspired scents that won't steal the show. Now, I really want to mention something that is extremely important here. There is a difference between features and benefits. So a feature would be something like, okay, in our case, it would be something like plant-derived antioxidants. Okay, so why should the client care about a plant-derived antioxidant? Because it has protective properties. And another feature could be, okay, it has proteins and micronutrients. Why should the client care about proteins and micronutrients? Because they are hydrating. Another feature is the fresh scent. Why are you mentioning that it has a fresh scent? Because, some people don't want something that's just too much. As far as scents, people are very particular with scents. So, it's good to mention things like, okay, it won't steal the show. It won't be too overpowering, So one way to really make sure that you mention the benefit with a feature is to think, and so what? And so what? And keep answering the and so what until, you can't answer it anymore. That's a really good way of making sure you have your benefits in there. Because copywriting is really sales, that's really what it is. It is sales. It's not copywriting if you're not trying to sell something. So you really have to get into the benefits, because people can, okay, you tell them about the features and so what, you really have to connect with an audience and really speak to the reasons why they would really want this, or how the product or service will benefit them. There are a lot of reasons, why somebody should not be a copywriter. And I'm not here to discourage anybody or anything like that, but I'm really think that people should follow their passions. Like, you don't want to waste your time doing something just because you think it's going to make you a lot of money, or you just out of the blue think you might enjoy it, and you might. I'm just trying to save you all that stress, time, and effort. So one other thing is that copywriting is kind of for extroverts, and I'm an introvert extrovert, meaning that when I'm in a social environment, I can socialize and network. That's important, because you're always going to need to pitch unless you work for an agency. If you're self-employed, you're freelancing, you're doing your own copywriting business, you will have to pitch. And that requires quite a bit of networking and effort on your part. The last thing I'll say is that you really need to have a good mastery of English. Mastery. You need to know English, okay? You can't be like, okay, I know a little bit of English and I'll just use like translation websites or something like that. That doesn't work at all. It will not work. And it sounds kind of obvious, but there's so many people that try to do copywriting, and when they don't really understand English very well. So, I mean, English, you can learn English. You can have someone review your copywriting. It's just going to be much harder. You just need to really understand the English language, or whatever language you're going to be copywriting in. Okay, so let's move on to the next part of this class, which is how to pitch. So pitching is like, I'm not gonna lie to you, there's really no way for me to sweeten this up in any way. For me at least, this is the least enjoyable part about copywriting, but you have to do it. I pitch about 5 to 10 people a day. And that is a lot of work, because when you're pitching, you first have to research your client or business, and then offer an improvement along with a compliment first, and then include a sample of your portfolio with a website link. Hopefully you have your portfolio and your website up and running. We'll discuss that later. Okay, so let's review this email that someone sent me to review. It starts off saying, "Hello, I'm interested in your hair studio because I love artistic people that are skilled in helping people achieve their desired look. I am a copywriter and I would love to add your business to my portfolio. My services would be free." And this is bolded. "My resume is attached. I have a few ideas on how to improve your website to increase sales. I will only mention 2 ideas on the homepage at the moment. Your website homepage looks good. This is what I would do differently on the homepage to make it better." Okay, so before we continue reading, I just want to say, first of all, she started off the email with saying hello. And when you're sending an email, you need to find out who is in the marketing department, or they may have a copywriter already on staff. but you need to really make sure you're emailing like the director of marketing or someone that works in the marketing department, not just like a random email to just, anybody. That really doesn't bring any results. So that's very, very important. And then she starts off by saying that she's interested in the hair studio because she loves artistic people. Well, you can just say that you love artistic work and, talk about your passions with hair. You don't have to really say that I'm interested in your hair studio because you don't have to do all that. Just speak about your passion and people will see for themselves that you're interested. You're passionate about hair or that you're interested. It's good that she mentioned that she's a copywriter right in the first couple of sentences. Just get straight to the point. I don't necessarily agree with mentioning that the services will be free, but I do know starting out that is how maybe I did about 2 or 3 copywriting for free, but don't really, if you know that the person can pay and if you know that what you're offering them is valuable, I would not mention that you're offering free service. Try to get some kind of payment. It may be a huge discount and they don't need to know that you're giving them a discount, but just try and avoid giving free services. Now, okay. So she said that she would only mention 2 ideas on the homepage, and I did cut off this email. There were 2 ideas in there, but I highly recommend you just stick to one idea, one area of improvement that you're going to do for them, obviously for free. 2 is a max, but really just stick to one. So she did really great by saying that the website homepage looks good, because again, you might be emailing the person that actually did the copywriting on the website, so you don't want to offend the person. And some of you may be asking, well, why would I be emailing the person who did the copywriting? Well, because they might need help and they might want to. The director of marketing doesn't necessarily do all this, nitty gritty stuff. So if they need help, if they value your service, they'll still hire you. It's fine. So she clearly stated what is currently on the page, and we're just going to keep reading here. It says idea number 1, the current verbiage: inspire, create, cultivate. And her recommended change was: design your look, move with confidence, and sensationalize with your beauty. Now, this is much better than what the client has because her recommendation incorporates the benefits of creating and inspiring. The benefit in her recommended change is that you sensationalize your beauty, right? And you move with confidence, right? Because from what they wrote, inspire, create, cultivate. Okay, why are we inspiring, creating, and cultivating, right? So you want the person to move with confidence. You want them to sensationalize, right? So those are some of the benefits that she did really well with and in mentioning. And then she went on to explain to the client the benefit of the change. And she said the change is meant to inform the client or customer about what you will do for them. When it comes to things like hair, people want to feel a certain way or at least look a certain way, as you already know. I'm glad she put that in there because you can't tell hair studio owner what people, how people want to feel. They already know that. They need help with communicating that, articulating that, and that's the skill that you're offering them. And then she goes on to say, because the perception people will have of them or how it will make them feel, if need be. Okay, the current verbiage says inspire. How? It's too much thinking on the consumer. That's right. You don't want the consumer to think too much, like figure out how the product or service will benefit them. Just tell them. So that was really good. The current verbiage, she goes on to say, the current verbiage also says cultivate. What does that mean for the consumer? And you don't want to be too ambiguous. To them, to the business owner, they think they already know what they mean by cultivate. But what does the client think you mean by cultivate? So just some clarity on that. And she goes on to say, I think you meant your team, employees of Calon, okay, the business name is in there. Well, it doesn't matter. Will prepare to be the best at what they do, but the focus should be on how that benefits the customer. See, all kinds of confusion here. So this pitch has really given the client some ideas of where they can improve and how she can be valuable. There is some room for improvement, but I'm sure you get the idea from this pitch. Okay, so moving right along, let's analyze some copywriting ads. Okay, and the first one we're gonna do is Polydent. Now, who knows what Polydent is? So they're dentures, right? And most people are very uncomfortable with dentures. That's like one thing you also need to do when you're copywriting is think about what is painful for customers regarding the product or service that you're offering. What kind of pain points do you need to address? So in this ad, they do a really, really excellent job of addressing a pain point, which is that people, don't want to feel the dentures. They don't want to think about them. So, I mean, the visual is good as well. And when you're copywriting, you have to work with designers, but we'll discuss that later. So this is a really great ad because it gets straight to the point. You know what the product is. You're not confused about it, and they tell you the benefit. Excellent ad. Okay, so the next one, Cinemarin, and I thought this was kind of terrible. Maybe just because I know that, well, not that I know, but my idea of mermaids is that they're like angry little creatures of the sea. That's at least what I read from history, that, they're not that pleasant. They're not as pleasant as people think. So she looks like a mermaid, which gives me a bad visual, just from my own personal experience, that mermaids are mean, but I could be wrong. They could be really beautiful creatures. Who knows? And then what the heck is she carrying? It looks like something that could electrocute me or suck the life out of me. I don't like it. And then it says 100% natural. Okay, nobody can even read that. Seawater solution. So I think this is a terrible ad. It doesn't tell me, first of all, the text is so small. I don't know whether it's like a lotion. I think it says 100% natural decongestant. Okay, I think this is a terrible ad. Yeah, and I think you get why. Okay, the next one is makes other snacks look scary. Smoothie. I really like this ad. I mean, the visual is like, yes, this is something delicious. It says Dunkin' Donuts, good branding there. I know what it is. It's a smoothie. And yeah, I would try it. And the wording is short, sweet, and to the point. I get what they're trying to tell me, and I would definitely try it. Good verbiage there. The next one is LG. Excuse me. LG says 3D has as you have never seen before. 3D as you have never seen before. Okay, so this is a really good one. The visuals are really good, and this has probably got nothing, the graphic designer does all that, but you still have to work with them. You have to, obviously keep the visual in mind in your wording. And I'm pretty sure that they could have made the print much bigger. because it goes on to say without glasses, new as Optimus. So the print could have been bigger. But otherwise, it looks like a really, really good ad. And I'm sure if you're watching it on your TV screen, the print is going to be just fine. Okay, so the next one is Tabasco. See, I love hot sauce. I got hot sauce in my bag right now, so I might be a little biased. But no, I'm not, because I know what good copywriting is. So it says, it was born hot. Okay, so there is no argument here. If somebody was born hot and you tasted hot, what else do you want? Perfect visual, perfect wording, sweet, short, and to the point. Good ad. No arguments there. Okay, the next one is for Pond's, and I remember this brand. It's been around for quite some time. Like, I don't know, maybe even, who knows, 40 years. But I believe this brand has been around for a very long time. And it says pimples, cleans pores, fights pimples. Okay, so they could have done, a better job of listing the benefits. Okay, I expected to clean my pores. I expected to fight pimples if that's what you're selling. But then maybe they could have gone into maybe how it'll make my skin feel, how it fights pimples, because that's maybe a competitive advantage. And, just probably going to benefits more. And I see that the visual is sort of saying, okay, after you use Pond's, you're not going to be hiding anymore. The visual sort of speaks to that. But the copywriter could have also done, a really good job of listing the benefits, in a short and simple way. If we've seen other ads have done it well in a short and simple way, it can be done. So that's just a review of some of the ads, and now you know what to look for when you're reviewing your own work. So the next thing we're going to talk about is what you need to get started as a copywriter. Okay, so this is another brutally honest section. So if you don't like it, please just, I'll try to be really nice about it. But I always wanted somebody to be brutally honest with me when I got started. Luckily, I enjoy writing and I enjoy being creative, but there were definitely some things I wasn't prepared for. So I'm going to give you the brutal honesty, okay? But actually, let's just start with just the basics of what you need. So I spoke about the portfolio earlier, and in order for your portfolio to look great, you need to work with a graphic designer. Look for someone who's just like you, also starting out as a copywriter. That way you compile something to send in a pitch to a client, and hopefully both of you get hired or one of you gets hired. Well, whatever. You just need to find somebody who's on the same page as you, willing to do work for free in the beginning, because don't pay the designers. You're going to spend a lot of money doing that. So just find a designer who's willing to work with you and pitch to clients together. Don't send your copywriting work without graphic design. It looks so unprofessional. It's such a turnoff. Don't do it, okay? You'll wonder why people are not responding back to you is because your work does not look good. It looks like, chicken poop. So find a graphic designer. The next thing you want to do after finding a graphic designer and you two have developed a nice, beautiful piece of advertisement or whatever it is, whatever it is you're selling, you need to have a website. So the website is very, very important, because that is how the customer is going to see whether you can sell yourself. If you can't sell yourself, you cannot be their copywriter, okay? It's really that simple. So you need a homepage that immediately talks about the benefit of hiring you as a copywriter. Immediately, you need to have that on the homepage. Sorry, I said homepage. I meant homepage. On the homepage, and then you need to have your call to action on the homepage as well. I would list, my services on there. You can list copywriting as a service, content strategy as a service, branding as a different service. And then you're going to have your portfolio page. that has all your portfolios. Now, when you're creating portfolio, it is very, very, very important to give a brief description of the client, what the challenges were, and how you contributed to the copywriting. So let me just give you an example. Let's just pick any random, let's say you just have a client that wants to sell, like, take for instance a textile clothing company, right? So you describe what textile clothing is, because not everybody knows what that is. And you briefly describe the company, and then you talk about what it is that you want the consumers to know. Because a lot of people don't know what textile clothing is, you may want to educate them on what that is. So educate them in a way that doesn't come off as, too salesy or too condescending or whatever. You just need to be very artistic in the way that you educate people on that, and why on earth they would be interested in textile clothing in the first place. And then you need to clearly mention the reasons for your wording and how you did your copywriting. For instance, you could say, I felt the need to mention that one of the things that textile clothing can do is monitor your heart rate. And why did you need to mention that? Because while a lot of people have trouble with monitoring their heart rate, and this is like an easy, efficient way to do it. And one of the great benefits of using textile clothing that people didn't know about. And okay, then why do people need to monitor their heart rate? Because it can save them from a heart attack, or it can save them from more doctor visits, or it can save them from worrying. You always need to continue to ask why, so you can get to the benefit and really really sell the product, So that's one thing I'll say about your portfolio. It needs to be really in depth. And then you need a contact page. How are people going to get in contact with you? And you also need to add your personality, like, okay, can't wait to be in touch, or something like that. Some people would include a blog on their website. And I think that's a great way to get email subscriptions, or add value to your website so that people can keep coming back for free information. That's really quite valuable. A copywriter really needs to understand the selling process, and you can show that through your website. And trust me, clients are looking very, very closely at your website. So you need to make sure that it's good, and someone reviews it, because I've seen some terrible websites. I once reviewed a website where a girl listed that one of the benefits of working with her was that she's from Oklahoma. And it wasn't that she just wanted clients from Oklahoma. She really thought, oh yeah, I'm a copywriter from Oklahoma. Yay. Okay. So that had to go, stuff like that, and your website might not be that bad, but you really need somebody to review it. Trust me when I tell you need someone to review it. Unless you review it yourself several times, but take some breaks, take like a day or a few hours away from it, and then come back and review it again to get like a fresh perspective on it, and look at other websites as well. And that should help you to really fine tune your website, and your brand voice has to come out. Okay, so since a website review is so important, I am giving away free website reviews to the first 5 people who share this video, comment, and subscribe. So you would just need to submit your website to me, or get in touch with me and submit your website, and I will review it for you for free. All right, so let's talk about client communication. One of the things that you need to really be good at when you're starting off as a copywriter or in your copywriting business for years to come is knowing how to communicate with clients. The first thing that I wish somebody could have told me was not to get into the habit of negotiating your price. Don't do it. When you state your price, stop talking and wait for a response. So if you tell them the price, don't be like, well, but I can also give you a discount. Don't ever do that. State your price confidently and wait for the person to respond. If you do decide to offer a discount, like in the beginning when you're just starting out, you need to state the reason for the discount. That way the client doesn't sort of think you're worth less, because now all of a sudden you're lowering your price. The next thing I would caution everybody on is, do not send the client a rough draft for review when they've actually hired you for copywriting work. Only send them final work. Then they'll give you feedback if they need be. But don't send them emails every couple of days. Well, does this look like what you were looking for? What do you think about this? No, they're not here to review your work every few days or anything like that. Do your best and send them final work. And if they need to make changes or suggestions, they'll let you know. Now, you're going to have a meeting with your clients. Hopefully, you all already know this. If they don't initiate a meeting with you, you need to make sure you initiate a meeting with them. This is called a briefing, where you take notes of everything the client is looking for. And in that briefing, you need to ask a lot of questions. For example, about what they want people to feel after they purchase their product or service, any measurable results that they want to achieve, and the intention of the copywriting. That way, you always keep the intention in mind and you don't go off track. And you need to try to have everything important in writing and set payment terms and working hours. There's so many situations where I ended up working the whole weekend, 10 days straight without a day off because I didn't set boundaries in the beginning. I thought, I should just, be there for my clients whenever they need me. And that's a good attitude to have, but you need to have boundaries. Otherwise, you'll be answering emails and text messages at midnight, and that's not good. Trust me, it messes with your creativity. It's not good at all. Now let's talk about the actual writing process. I don't think anyone should really have training in the writing process, because you should be a somewhat good writer, okay? You should know something about writing, okay? But in general, you go through a pre-writing, and then you do the writing, and you revise, and you rewrite, you proofread, and then you publish. This is generally what has to happen when you write. There's nothing that I've ever sent that I haven't rewritten or proofread and rewritten again and proofread. There's just so much checking that needs to go into your work if you really want to produce good work. But those are some of the steps that you need to keep in mind. The last thing you need to have if you're going to get into copywriting is to have patience. It can be really frustrating to send emails every day, and a week or two goes by and nobody is hiring you or anything. So I have this quote from Joyce Meyer, which says, "Patience is not the ability to wait, but the ability to keep a good attitude while waiting." Because you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that somebody is going to hire you, or even better, that you're already hired, is just not manifested yet. That's how much you need to believe. You need to have a good attitude. Other people can do things for you, but if you don't have good energy, if you're not, emanating the right kind of things out here in the universe, then it probably won't work out. I'm not, it's not like a perfect science, but, it's much better to have a good attitude, and I think everybody would agree. So start off with some kind of morning ritual where you get yourself into a good mood, and meditation, or eat something you really love, or do something you really love. Start your day off good. That's what I'll say. Well, thank you so much for watching, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you found this information valuable.